Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Melinda Sri Andita, and I would like to share my personal opinion about the books I've read. The title of the book is Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights is a story when two young people that already been together since their childhood. They shared happiness and sadness together, which makes Heathcliff fell in love deeply with Catherine. But when they become adults, Catherine chose another man to marry, which makes Heathcliff got heartbroken and become heartless, greedy, and ruthless man. He wants to take revenge both to Catherine and Catherine's husband, Edgar Linton, so that those couple feel the suffer Heathcliff has been through. The interesting part of this novel is the reason why Catherine didn't choose Heathcliff when the man loves her with his whole soul. Catherine knows that she loves Heathcliff. Heathcliff is a part of her soul. They share the same thoughts, passion, nature, and deepest dark side. She thinks that even she got married with another man, her bond with Heathcliff will never be broken because they are like a soulmate. Her love for Heathcliff is something that lives within her soul, and it is something that can be gone as long as she lives. But in the other side, Catherine's decision makes Heathcliff become a bad person, so that he takes revenge on Catherine by leaving her without any explanation, making Catherine suffer without him being around. He takes revenge on Edgar Linton, Catherine's husband, by marrying his sister and deceive her until she depressed towards Heathcliff's behavior. Wuthering Heights is the most classical novel that I like. I enjoy that this novel brings that everyone has dark side and teaches that there are many several types of love, the good one and the bad one. Love can make someone's life better, but sometimes it can ruin it. Our selfish love can also hurt people we love and others too. The lack of this novel, in my opinion, is the point of view. The story of Wuthering Heights is brought by Nell's point of view, the maid in the story. I don't really like it because the story is told by someone's perspective, making us still doesn't know what's the real story behind it and the character's real thoughts. Nellie brought this story and tells us that Heathcliff and Catherine are a bad person. But what if it's the opposite? What if there's still more hidden reason behind their action and feelings? Overall, the novel is good and worth reading because it has such an interesting and controversial plot. Not only that, the writing is fascinating and not hard to understand, unlike the other classical story I've read so far. I think that's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Irni Herunisa. In this occasion, I would like to share my review towards the novel with title The Great Gatsby. This novel is set in the 1920s and tells the story of Jay Gatsby, a millionaire from the perspective of his neighbor, Nick Carraway. Nick is a newcomer to New York who started his career as a stockbroker. Nick lives next door to Jay Gatsby, who regularly holds parties at his luxurious house while keeping his true identity as a secret, in hope that the woman he loves will come to the party, but unfortunately she never attends. The love story of Jay Gatsby, who tries everything to get back the love of a rich young woman named Daisy, who he loved in his youth, even though now the woman is married to a rich man named Tom Buchanan. However, what I liked most when I reading this novel was when I found out how complicated the main character's love relationship was, which was explained in detail by the author, such as the detail of the green light at the end of the pier at Daisy's house, which is an important symbol in this novel, where the color green symbolizes hopes and dreams that haven't been achieved, as well as Gatsby's desire to achieve happiness with the woman he loves. As well as Gatsby's desire to achieve happiness with the woman he loves, as well as a picture of glamorous social life in the 1920s. The big parties in Gatsby's big house that make readers like me can also imagine a luxurious and glamorous lifestyle for the upper class. But the weakness of this novel is the boring opening, because at the beginning of the story there is too much discussion and small talk, which in my opinion is not very important. But when I start to enter the middle of the story, I start to understand the plot of the story. Overall, this classic novel is very good. And I recommend the other reader to read this novel too, because the storyline is interesting with an unexpected plot twist at the end. There are so many moral messages that can be taken from this story, such as the fact that the past cannot be repeated and everyone must move forward in life. And from the main character Jay Gatsby, I learned that someone becomes great not because all of the luxuries he has, but because of the extraordinary determination he has in pursuing his dream. Gatsby's dream and determination can be used as an example to achieve our success in the future. And that's all the review from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Titin Haryanti. Here I want to share my review of the novel titled The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a story set in 1974 that introduces you to a family of cannibals. He is a large, terrifying butcher with mental disorder and wears a mask made from human facial skin. His brother, Tom Efford, called him Leatherface. Leatherface is a terrible psychopath compared to other psychopaths such as Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers because Leatherface doesn't have supernatural powers and he is much more realistic. The character Leatherface himself is described as a man with an underdeveloped personality and is cruelly very psychologically disturbed. He does look very scary, but when he meets his family members, Leatherface looks like the weakest in this crazy family. The reason for the massacre they carried out was food, because they come from poor families. They usually steal corpses from local cemeteries to eat and use as decoration in their homes. So one day there were 5 young people who entered their house without permission. They were Sally, Hardesty Franklin, Jerry, Kirk, and Palm, who can rebels fast food after always eating rotten creases. In the end, the victim met a tragic fate. His head was smashed with a hammer, his entrails opened with a chainsaw to hang on meat hooks before finally ending up on the dinner table. However, Sally Hardesty was the only survivor of Leatherface's murder. After failing to get Sally, who managed to escape, Leatherface is shown dancing madly with showing his chainsaw in the air. I really like that very sadistic scene, especially that very painful sound of the hammer hitting, because many young people like to carelessly do things in place that don't belong to them. So it's natural for someone with a disorder like Leatherface to get angry and kill people who disturb his speech. I recommended you read this story. There's even a movie if you want. That's all the review of the favorite my novel. Thank you and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is Eka Putri Nur Hajija. Here I will explain the short story that I read. I read short story on date began February 24 and finished February 25. The title of short story I read is The Black Cat. The author is Edgar Allan Poe. Publisher is United States Saturday Post. And date published is August 19, 1843. Type of the short story is horror fiction. What I like about this short story that the author does not develop human characters with good characters like writer in general. However, he actually wants to reveal that one of the basic human traits is evil, such as envy, revenge, and anger. Humans have another side to them that drives them to do evil. The short story from Edgar Allan Poe entitled Black Cat is very good. So there is no reason for me not to like the story. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Geraldine. This is my assessment to explain about the novel we read. The title of book is Autumn in Paris. Author by Ilana Tan, publisher by PT Gramedia. That published is July 2007. Number of page is 216. Type of book is fiction. And what did you like best about this book? Because the story is fun and ongoing with another novel. What did you like least about this book? The only drawback may lie in the depiction of the plot. The plot is a bit difficult to understand and remember. There are too many flashbacks which sometimes cause readers to have to repeat their reading in several previous sections. Your language is Indonesia language and your country is Indonesia. And level of difficult is medium. That's all my word. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, Miss, now I will tell you about a book that I read. It called Webs and Our Story. There is a girl that left by his boyfriend because he chose his parents' wish than his feeling. She is sad when she plays jet ski and memorizes it. Without realizing, she fell and the waves were so strong and almost made her limp. Suddenly, there is a bird touched her and saved her. Arriving at the beach, he asks her name in a heavy voice. She looks him and see he is handsome. She thinks this man seemed to have fallen from the sky to help her. Thanks for helping me. I'm Sena. She start and Steven. Sena, alright. Who are you here with? No, nothing. I am alone. Come with me. I will take you, he said suddenly. Stay here for a moment, he ordered with afterthought. Wear this at least you are not cold, he pleaded. And after that, he introduced himself. I'm Andrew Morgan. After that, on the road, when he take her, he asked, "Are you busy? Are you busy today?" Not. She answered spontaneously, "Come with me." He suddenly couldn't believe it. My best friend suddenly asked me to come with my partner, but I couldn't find a partner in a short time. I hope you are willing to be my lover, he said with shining eyes and shining on me. She doesn't mind either, and she thinks this is her chance to help him. Help him. This man quickly got her a departure ticket, and in no time she was flying with him to Alaska. After the party is over, they go somewhere. He covers her eyes with a cloth, and then when they arrive, he removed the piece of cloth from her eyes. This little surprise has been prepared on top of a tall building, complete with a table, twiggy glasses, and white wine. When she drinks, there is a small shiny object suddenly hit the corner of her lips. Diamond ring? She said surprised. Andrew smiled and said, "Will you be with me forever, Senna?" "Yes, I do, Andrew," she explained cheerfully, and then he put the diamond ring on her ring finger. "I will marry you, Senna. I will marry you, Andrew." Just all about a book that I read last time. If there's some mistake, please pardon me. And the last is, I think, enough. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Rani Rahmawati, NIM 2316111. I would like to deliver my story that I have read. The title is Mariposa. Mariposa is a romance comedy fiction novel written by Lulu HF. It was published in 2019. It was published by Coconut Book. Okay, I will tell about the story briefly. So, Mariposa talk about Acha changed school and meets Iqbal. In the story, Acha is a beautiful and intelligent high school girl. Acha falls in love with Iqbal. Ambitious, Acha tries to get Iqbal, but it turns out it's not as easy as I imagined. Iqbal is a cold guy. This trait was attached to Iqbal because Iqbal's mother died and Iqbal was required to be the best at his school. This made Iqbal uneasy. At on time, Acha was given advice by Amanda. Amanda asked Acha to be indifferent to Iqbal for a week. Acha also agreed. After 4 days of Acha being indifferent, Iqbal starts to pay attention to Acha. The next day, Iqbal suddenly became angry with Acha and insulted Acha, a cheap girl. Acha was sad and decided not to help for Iqbal anymore. The next day, during the third round, Iqbal was anxious because he was thinking about his father's demands. In the end, they got first place. The next day, Acha celebrated her birthday and invited her friends. But Iqbal did not receive an invitation. On her birthday, Acha received a butterfly sent from her father who lived in Korea. In the end, Iqbal came to Acha's birthday and gave her a cow doll. Iqbal also apologized and was grateful because Iqbal could be more open to his father. And unexpectedly, Iqbal confessed his feeling to Acha. Acha is happy because her ambition to fight for Iqbal ended beautifully. So, what I like about this novel is Acha role who never give up and is determined when she won to get one she won. Okay, thanks all my presentation about Mariposa novel. Sorry if there is mistake. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello everyone, my name is Anissa Rahmi and today I would like to talk about the book I read for pleasure. So this week I read a book entitled Andersen's Fairy Tale written by Hans Christian Andersen. He is a famous children's books author and this book contains a compilation of his short stories, but since there are a lot of stories here, I think today I'm only gonna talk about one of his famous work entitled The Little Mermaid. So this book was published by the Wordsworth Editions in 1993, and for The Little Mermaid itself, it has 22 pages of stories in this book, and I spent around 2 days starting from February 23 to February 25 to finish the entire stories. What I like about this book is first, The Little Mermaid is one of my most favorite work of Andersen's. A little bit synopsis about the story. The Little Mermaid told a story about a mermaid who fell in love with Prince Charming. She rescued from a storm. There are also movie adaptations based on the stories with the same title, both in animation and live action versions made by Disney, but there's slight differences between the original one with the Disney one. In the original one, Anderson's didn't give a happy ending to the Little Mermaid. So in this story, the prince married another princess from the neighborhood kingdom, and because the Little Mermaid was so sad and brokenhearted, and she couldn't see the love of her life married another woman, so she decided to throw herself in the ocean and turn into the sea foam. So she basically died in the end of the story. And even though it's more tragic than the Disney's version, I think I like the book version of the story because in the story, Anderson's described well about the background events and the situations that happen to the characters, also the picture of the picture of life under the sea. So I think by reading the story, I can see the very detailed and the more clear picture that experienced by the character of the stories. Another reason, I think because the dictions that is used in this book is very easy to understand, but yet it's still so poetic, and also the moral value that brings the theme about sacrifice, love, family, and the nature of human and soul. They are so well depicted in the story, and one moral value that I can take from this story is that to get something we strongly desired, there must be a big sacrifice that we have to make, even if it is really painful for us. And what I like least about the story, I think because as I grow older, the character Little Mermaid becomes my understanding of the character change and becomes more irrelevant, because I think what she does is so impulsive, and it is so selfish of her to leave her family only to chase a man that she just met. And I think rather than brave, it is rather to be called impulsive. So yeah, I think what I like least, because the characteristic of the Little Mermaid is become more irrelevant to me as I grow older. And would I recommend this book to my friends? I think yes, I would really recommend this book to my friends, because I think for those who just learn to read English book, this book will be very easy to understand, and the dictions also not so hard to understand. Yeah, you can basically read the book without opening the dictionary, and I think it will be good for reading comprehension practice. So yeah, I will really recommend the book to my friends. And I think that's all of my presentation of the book I read this week. I hope you like it, and see you in another presentation. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Okta Meriza, and this is my assignment or my presentation for intermediate reading. So the book that I would like to introduce in this section is a book called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. The author of this book is Holly Jackson, and it was published on 2nd of March 2019. The publisher of this book is Electric Monkey from the United Kingdom and De La Corte Press in the United States of America. Type of this book is fiction, and the number of the page is 400. The date that I began to read this book is 19th of February 2024, and the date that I finished to read this book is on 25th of February 2024.
So before I jump right to the best things that I like about this book, I would like to tell a little bit of the story of this book first. So this book tells a story about a young high school girl named Pippa. So Pippa took an investigation into a 5-year-old murder case and make it as her senior project. The story follows her journey to investigate the unsolved murder case of the sweetheart girl in her town named Andy Bell, along with the suicidal of Andy's boyfriend, which is the name of the boyfriend is Sing Sol. So what I like the best about this book is the first thing is writing style. It has multiple narratives from the first person to the third person, and what I like the most is the author uses different fonts for every different section, for example, in Pip's journal or Pip's notes. It is easy to make a difference to every narrator, and the story is very tranquil for a mystery type genre, and even though it is taken not too casually, it is very different from the same genre like Holmes, let's say, by Arthur Conan Doyle, of course, because this comes under the category of the young adults novel. This book hooked me right from the beginning until the end of the story. In this, Pip's character in this book is very straightforward. Her curiosity and determination of wanting to reveal who was behind all of the chaos in her town for the past 5 years made me constantly follow her journey in every interaction she has with the people involved in this case. Not only about the story, but what made me hooked until the end was the use of each word in this book is very easy to understand. There's a lot of American slang, a variety of new words, and vocabulary made me learn a little about how American or a British use their language for daily. And of course, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is a light mystery novel, even though the murder case is slightly complex. And the end kept us thinking about the twist. I think this book is suitable for those who doesn't really into mystery book. And not only for teenagers, of course, but for young adults, even for me who don't really read mystery novel quite often. So after we talk about the best things, the best part of this book, I would like to tell what things or what do I like least about this book. So the first thing that I don't really find it relatable is the amount of times the main character eventually does stupid things. By that I mean is that the author used the main character to be an intelligent girl for her age, especially as 17 years old. But the amount of times that the main character does crazy things or makes something that quite danger her is quite making me write a big question mark. So that's the only thing that I find unrelatable. And the last thing that I like least is how the investigation took very long, or how the author used to repeated investigation make me want to jump right to the next pages. So how the Pip's character always does the same interview with the same witness make me want to actually move on to the next chapter. It is quite long for me to actually wanted to know more about this book. So I think these two things is what I don't really like about the book itself. So I think that's all for my presentation for a recorded book for week 1. I hope this video is understandable, and I hope it quite helpful. I think that's all for me for now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi Miss Dewi, my name is Dewi Febriansa. Today I will tell you a short story called A Glass of Milk. There once was a poor boy who spent his days going door to door selling newspaper to pay for school. One day, as he was walking his road, he started feeling low and weak. The poor boy was starving, so he decided to ask for food when he came to the next door. The poor boy asked for food but was denied every time until he reached the door of a girl. He asked for a glass of water, but seeing his poor state, the girl came back with a glass of milk. The boy asked how much he owed her for the milk, but she refused the payment. Years later, the girl, who was now a grown woman, fell sick. She went from doctor to doctor, but no one was able to cure her. Finally, she went to the best doctor in her town. The doctor spent months treating her until she was finally cured. Despite her happiness, she was afraid she couldn't afford to pay the bill. But when the hospital handed the bill, it read paid in full with glass of milk. So that's a short story that I can tell you, and the moral of the story is no good deed goes unrewarded. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andre. I will present a book. I read the title To Have and Have Not. To Have and Have Not was written by Ernest Hemingway and published by Slasher in 1937. The book To Have and Have has 230 pages and is a type of fiction book. To Have and Have Not by Ernest Hemingway is very prose and gripping adventure novel indicated and unskilled Harry Morgan, who how of no business after their sporting the poor and his family somehow get involved in illegal business, trying to save people and or money and waste and particularly short deed. The after the is relating the language and build on some word. The still consistent of short and clear sentences, and the plot of the novel is which contain a lot of action is truly extraordinary. Reader will read with fascination and interest about Harry Morgan. Lecturer's journey to living his hardest battle him will be again to finish this book and one break the tragic story and Harry Morgan is for people in his and ground life are some of the most unforgettable adventures. To Have and Have Not only pursues interesting story and language but also present a depth presentation of life and push the are level to rather in is what modern me take in reading the book. Maybe that all I can say. Thank you. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Evi Ramayani, usually called Vivi. I will present the book I read, namely The House on Mango Street. The House on Mango Street was written by Sandra Chisteros, and published by Arta Publico Press in 1984. The book The House on Mango Street has 103 pages and is a type of fiction book. Although fiction, this book is clearly visible at the author of Sandra Sisteros and some of the autobiographical elements that are the mainstay of the novel. There are several characteristics in the story The House on Mango Street. The first is Esperanza Cardero. Esperanza Cardero is the protagonist and narrator of The House on Mango Street. Next, Esperanza Ferrans. Esperanza Ferrans are Mama Cardero and Papa Cardero. Next, there are Denny Cardero and Kaki Cardero, who are Esperanza younger siblings. Next, there are Lucy and Rachel. Lucy and Rachel, who are sister and Esperanza neighbor. Next, Sally. Sally is Esperanza friends at the end of the novel. This novel tells the life of Esperanza, a Mexican-American girl living in the Latin neighborhood in Chicago. During the years, Esperanza moved into a house on Mango Street with her family, marking an important milestone as this is the first house they have owned. As she grew up, Esperanza faced various challenges, including sexual abuse, poverty, and societal expectation. She formed close bond with her neighbor, especially Lucy and Rachel, and together they navigate adolescence and the realities around them. Esperanza experience led her to realize the importance of getting off Mango Street and creating her own path in life, using her creative talents to achieve her goals. The ending of The House on Mango Street is a bit open-ended, but it suggests a hopeful future for its protagonist, Esperanza. In the final chapter, Angel sometimes Mango say goodbye. Esperanza reflects on the hard past and present experience living on Mango Street. She admits that even though she doesn't feel like she really belongs there, she expects its impact on her identity. She also experienced his desire to move forward and correct a new speech for herself, stating that she wants her own home someday. Overall, the ending shows that despite facing challenges while growing up, Esperanza is determined to succeed and create a better life for herself. One of the interesting about the book, The House on Mango Street, is the use of beautiful language and describing everyday life experience. For example, in the following quote, she loved singing out the window all her life about how many women helped overcome their grief. I wonder if she did the best with what she got of, or if she realized that she couldn't be one she wanted to be. In this quote, another Sandra uses simple yet powerful language to describe her character feelings and thoughts. This makes reader feel connected to the story and the emotion conveyed in depth. Maybe that's all I can say. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello, my name is Karina Azahra Aulia, and today I will tell you about the book I read this week. The title of the book I read is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. This novel was originally published on September 21, 1962. This novel tells about a girl named Mary Catherine Blackwood, or Mary Cat, that lived with her sister Constance and her uncle Julian. The rest of her family was dead of poisoning few years ago. All this time, people thought that Constance is the one who is responsible of the family's death, but it turns out that Mary Cat is the real killer. Mary Cat poisoned her family on the dinner with eccentric on sugar. Mary Cat knows that Constance will not using the sugar, so Constance is the one who wasn't poisoned, and their uncle Julian was also poisoned, but he survived from the poison. After the family's death, Mary Cat being too protective to her sister Constance. Mary Cat herself hates people in their circumstances, and she never let Constance step her foot out of their house. One day, Mary Cat burned their house by pipe smoke, and she escaped with her sister, but it makes their uncle Julian dead in the burning house. She escaped with her sister to a shelter. Then, for a few times, they turn back to their house that has been ruined by the burn. They start their new life with everything left there, even though people making up a bad rumor about them, saying that they hate children and they will eat every child that comes near to their house. They don't care and they live their life happily because finally they don't feel any fear anymore. What I like best about this novel is the genre. This novel has genre about psychological fiction, which is very interesting for me to read. And also the English language used in this novel is understandable, not too hard, and easy to read for a beginner. And what I like less about this novel is the plot. This novel has no too specific plot that I don't understand why Mary Cat killed her family and being too protective to her sister. Overall, this novel is very good and I would like to recommend this novel to everyone, especially if they interested in psychological fiction. So I think that's all from me. See you next time and bye bye.
Hello, Miss Dewi. I'm Anna. I'm going to tell you a little story about The Old Man and the Sea and the reason why I like or dislike about this story. The Old Man and the Sea tells of the journey of the old man who catches fish in the sea, where he was initially underestimated by his friend because he couldn't catch fish within 40 days. So he tried and determined to get fish so he could boast to his friends. But it turns out that the old man was carried away into the middle of the sea. By waiting for a while, he gets twice the size of his boat. Then he tries to pull the fish, but it turns out that it's so hard that he keeps the old man holding the fishing line so he doesn't let go. After one night, one day, in the middle of the sea, the old man decided to go home, but on his way he was blocked by a shark who wanted to eat the old man's catch. The old man then hit and killed the shark to keep it from eating his catch. But he still couldn't save his catch because when he got to the waterfront, he saw his fish that had been left by shark in the sea. I like the old man's spirit and the attitude that he doesn't give up when he wants to get something, which is shown when the old man keeps the spirit of holding the fishing line even if his hand bleeds. It can also be seen from when he killed and hit a shark that tried to block him from bringing the fish up to the beach. It shows a fighting attitude towards defending something that we've got. And what I don't like about this story is how the old man is so hard on himself. He doesn't think about the risks or the dangers he's going to experience while he's holding onto his fishing rods. That is from me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Siti Shawalia, you can call me Lia. So I will tell you about the book I have read. The title of the book is In Our Time, author Ernest Hemingway, publisher Modernist Version Project University of Victoria, that published 1925, number page 30. Type of book is non-fiction or history. The book is written by Ernest Hemingway. Hemingway is a pedagogical writer who, however, he teaches his reader a new form of sensitivity to language. In this book, Hemingway writes the experience during his work and journey into Spain. In this book, there is a theme of solitude, loss, sadness, separations, continued by Hemingway with vignette, including the description of the action, human effects against bulls, and new even the accurate. The collection of short stories is now for spare language and emotional depictions using a style that Hemingway thinks a story of omissions or iceberg theory. I think Hemingway just wrote down the part of the event that happened. He did not write his in the child of scan so that he required readers to digest it carefully. The incidents was written in 80 chapters, were told bravely and elusive language for me, and this is the first book of Hemingway that I read, so there is a challenge for me to digest the sentence. Okay guys, that's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Miss Dewi. I'm Muhammad Firdaus. I will share a story, the novel story about the Chronicles of Narnia. Okay, let's get started. This novel, the title is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's a portal fantasy novel for children by C.S. Lewis, published by Geoffrey Bless in 1950. It is the first published and best known of 7 novels in the Chronicles of Narnia series. The novel is set mostly in Narnia, a land inhabited by talking animals and mythical creatures, ruled by the evil White Witch. Wow, scary. There are 4 siblings. They are Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy Pevensey. They are evacuated from London during World War II and discovered the magical world of Narnia through a wardrobe. What kind of wardrobe? The wardrobe was the property of the Professor Diggory Kirkcase's house. In Narnia, they meet the Faun Tumnus and the White Witch. Edmund is tempted by the witch with Turkish delight and betrays his siblings to her. The children befriend Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, learn of a prophecy involving Aslan, the great lion, and embark on a journey to meet him at the stone table. The White Witch plans to kill Edmund, but Aslan sacrifices himself instead. Aslan is resurrected by a deeper magic, defeats the witch, and crowns the Pevensey children as kings and queens of Narnia. After a long reign, they return to England as children through the wardrobe again, promising to return to Narnia one day. Okay, that's all from me. Miss Dewi, if I make a mistake, I'm sorry, Miss Dewi. That was all from me, the Chronicles of Narnia's novels series. It was the first, wait a minute, Dewi. It was the first series. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Miss Dewi. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.